It was just to represent the community. There was a lot of people asking for a long time for somebody to step forward for council. I thought it's a horrible idea. I don't particularly like the idea of being in council. I think it'd be soul destroying. But, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you've got a service to your community, and that was going to be it.
I'm Tom Barnett. I've been asked to run for Mayor by people in the community who want a strong voice. A voice for health, freedom and community-led leadership that will allow our iconic Shire to reclaim its boldness for doing things our way. Let's face it, we know the system's broken and people are frustrated because they aren't being heard. There's not enough heart or willingness from those in power to put themselves on the line, whether that's taking on the state government, big developers or the profound stress on our businesses. As a holistic health practitioner who is dedicated to seeing our community thrive, I know we can disrupt the system for our collective good. Together, we can affect change on ecology, economy and community, restore accountability, transparency and integrity, and align with the wisdom of the original custodians who have honoured the land since ancient times. Together, let's sack the status quo, take Byron back. Authorised by Tom Barnett for Tom Barnett Empower Byron at 167399 Ewingsdale Road, Byron Bay, New South Wales 2481.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to Tom Barnett for the first time. I've been watching your work and we obviously share some audience, so they're going to be really happy to see you here. And also, I just read recently that you applied to be the Mayor of the Byron Shire and it's actually been rejected. So I'd love to talk about that. But firstly, thanks for coming on and thanks for everything you're doing. And yeah, let's talk about it. You applied. You were obviously hoping to get into the election process, and yeah, what happened?
Well, I was in. That's the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So we put the nomination in, and they accepted it, and then through their own errors, their own clerical errors, they long story short, they found one error in our paperwork, but they'd already accepted it. So they basically never gave us a chance to rectify it, which is what they're supposed to do. So they're trying to cover up their own blunder and they're avoiding having to push the election back, essentially. So they've just like flicked a couple of us that I think made a similar error. And yeah, that's what you get with the New South Wales Electoral Commission.
So is there no way of getting into the upcoming election?
Well, look, there is. We could put in a Supreme Court injunction.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with doing that is while we might be successful, I just think it'd be too much of a drag for everyone else in the running. And I do know a couple of people running, you know, for mayor at the moment. And in all honesty, you know, we couldn't get in as a primary vote because without the preferences of other candidates, which we don't have, we would need greater than a 50% vote in this region, which is unlikely to get in a 4-week campaign. So realistically, rather than derail the entire election process, we're just putting our votes behind somebody that we can count on. And then we're marking this as the beginning of a 2.5-year campaign to get to the mayor spot for the next election. So it's pretty much just a strategic move to let that one go and sue the commission, because if we did put in a Supreme Court injunction and they put us in, then I can't sue them. So I'm quite money hungry as far as that goes.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Wow, that's the best round of applause I've had for quite a while. I am independent, and currently I'm independent of the Electoral Commission. Some of you may be aware. That's the first thing I'd like to address. Some people say that those that really want power shouldn't be given it, they shouldn't go after it. If you want so-called power, it should be something that you're willing to bend down and pick up. There's not many times that the community actually elects somebody to speak for them. I don't really like the term leader myself. I like the idea of the community electing somebody to just be a voice, but is not above, below, or anything than the community that wants them to speak. And that is what I consider my role to be, is simply to deliver the message of the community, somebody who has been asked by the community to run.
Why did you apply to be Mayor of Byron Shire to begin with? What was your mission?
It was just to represent the community. There was a lot of people asking for a long time for somebody to step forward for council. I thought it's a horrible idea. I don't particularly like the idea of being in council. I think it'd be soul destroying. But, you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you've got a service to your community, and that was going to be it. But what it was, we all kind of dropped that idea a little while ago. But then once we saw a few things happening behind the scenes and some of the other people running for this candidacy, we thought we've got to put something in to stop it, because there's some interests in this area that are obviously not good for the people. So we're really just looking to keep that out, which whether I'm on the ballot or not, we still have the ability to do. So I'm really just representing the community.
Yeah. Okay, great. And you'll do that, you know, as your own person, or you'll support others. So either way, if someone good gets in, that'll be really great, because I think Byron Bay seems to be a refuge for, I don't know, critical thinkers. So we want to protect that as much as possible so that, you know, we can escape there if we need to, maybe. Yeah. But do you have any aspirations to run as a member of parliament for a party?
I did a couple of years ago. I ran for IMOP.
Yep.
That was another one of those times when I was the community needed somebody to step forward for this region. So I did. I don't honestly have political aspirations. I think I can do a lot more outside of politics than I can inside of politics. But again, if it's something that can be done to support, you know, the holistic picture, then it's something that I'll do.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So now you've been doing a range of different types of seminars and webinars and information sessions over the last 2 years, maybe even longer. Excuse me if I didn't know about you before COVID. But
only recent.
Okay, cool. Well, you know, you've been really influential with, I think people really like your tone. You're very calm and peaceful, and you say your message very straight to the point. You don't waffle on. But you know, if you could explain the work that you've done over the last year, you know, how would you explain that, and how have you tried to impact people's lives with it?
Well, I don't know, Monica. It's really just, I made that video about viruses, and then people just kept hounding me for more information. So I did. I mean, I was really happy with my job as a photographer and videographer. Didn't particularly want to leave it. But again, it's just the need of the moment changed my particular personal goals. And so I just began sharing what I've learned over the last 20, 30 years with regards to health, and in the last 10 or so years with regards to rights and law and that kind of thing. So realistically, you know, it's just my motives were just to be of some service.
Well, people resonate with you. And what, I mean, I'm asking you this question, and please don't be humble because I'm asking you, but why do you think people follow you? Why do you think they resonate with you so much? What is it that you've got that people look up to?
I don't really know, because honestly, I just, you know, for so long, people are saying, well, how do I learn about my rights? And I'm just going, just go to Know Your Rights Group, go to Solutions Empowerment, go to Empower Movement, go to like the dozens of sites that are available that have been going for a long time that are already doing it. So I didn't particularly want to get into that, but I think I have a way of simplifying things perhaps that people resonate with. And so, yeah, that's all it is. Because if I had to sit and listen to myself, I wouldn't be too happy. So I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Hey, well, you know what? You're humble, and I think that's part of it. So that's great. So you didn't get in for Mayor Council. And so what's next for Tom Barnett in the movement or in the influencing sphere, or, you know, what's next for you?
Yeah, well, it's continuing the campaign, because that'd be quite disempowered to actually go, oh, well, they said no, so we can't get a message out. So we don't really care about them. Happy to take their money by suing them for doing the wrong thing by us in the community, because at the end of the day, it's not a vindictive thing. They, through their own errors, told us to start campaigning and spend like $10,000, $15,000 on advertising and materials. So we've got to get that back plus punitive damages. So that's part of, that's only fair and equitable. And then we're going to put that back into the community. And what I would like to do, which is what we've been gearing towards anyway, is starting an independent media outlet, which does, this kind of broadcast of interviews and like a news program essentially, and then print media and so on and so forth. So we're going to continue the campaign because we need to get the message to the right people and to get the right people into council here. And then off the back of that, we're essentially just going forward with the media outlet.
That's great because there's so many people talking about doing that and no one's just been able to actually successfully bring it together. So, I'm sure we can collaborate with that offline some other time, but that's great. So right now though, is there anything people can do to support you Yeah, well, look, a lot of it's moral support. I think that's not to be underestimated. There's a lot of people who have shown the power of prayer and intention and meditation, where if enough people do it at once, it changes something in the physical realm. So if people have the right intention towards what we're doing here, that's one thing. I'll come back to that because I think there's something else to be said for it. But essentially, if people want to put their moral support behind it, I think that will help to make this endeavor here more successful, which is essentially, at the end of the day, it's about the messaging, right? It's like what you guys do. It's about getting the right messaging out in the right quantities to counteract the mainstream narrative and to allow people the ability to make informed choice for themselves, which they're not otherwise given. It's all about consent. So we want to make sure people have that ability. And if people still want to choose that mainstream, well, we'll go for it. But as long as they've been given, here's another option, another way, then, that's their consent fully. And that's all fair. So that's what we want to do. And people can get behind that to support in a moral sense, but at the end of the day as well, I think that while I think we would like to provide a blueprint for others, like you said, Monica, a lot of people have spoken about starting independent media. Not many have. I think there are some, but nothing that's really gained a whole lot of traction. And so rather than just support here, I think it's a good idea to see that so that we can produce something and then other people can then replicate that wherever they are. And then, so when I say put their moral support behind us, it's not just about here in Byron. It's like, because that takes away from what everyone can do wherever they are as well. And are you planning on bringing independent medias together, or are you trying to build your own, similar to, say, Rebel News or MCJ Report or Discernible, or is it going to be like that?
Initially, I would imagine it would just be Byron based. And then what we would do from that is collaborate with others and bring them in, like not to bring everyone under one umbrella at all, but just to be able to cross-share, I guess, cross-pollinate, as people call it. So if somebody's done a great story in Victoria, then we could use that and share it for them as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think we would work in and collaborate with other people doing the same. But initially, I think one of the mistakes people make in this world is, and we all do it sometimes, it's going for the widest audience possible. So we want to go, well, we need everyone around the country and then around the world to watch what we're doing. But I don't think it's really that necessary, because sometimes you can dilute the message that way. There's an old expression of, if you try to sell to everyone, you'll sell to no one. So I feel if we do a really, really good job of filling the needs of the moment here and affecting change in the community that way, then that'll have its ripple effect. And in doing so, then we can bring other people's, stories and work in from other places to have slots that actually go to show what other people are doing. So rather than us focus on Victoria, people in Victoria, for example, can focus on that. And then we can take that and go look at what other people are doing as well, rather than us trying to cover stories in other places.
And that way it's more localized. They say start local, right? And then it balloons out. So if you get, the process plan, then people can just duplicate it in their local areas.
Yeah.
So I think there's a massive market for independent media, obviously. Some people don't know it yet, but they actually really want to watch independent media. So glad to do it. We spoke to Dave O'Neiggs about it as well. So we totally support you guys, and we'll share your content when it starts coming out. Can't wait to see it. And I'll obviously, I know you guys are selling some really cool t-shirts and stuff like that as well. Really creative. So that's cool. And if you had you've obviously given a lot of advice over the year, but if you had like a lasting message of hope or anything in general, what would it be?
Well, it's really just to come back to who we are, because when we're distracted by all of these stories that get put out by the mainstream narrative, perpetuated by the media, trying to be coerced by government, all of that, it can take us outside of ourselves and outside of our essence. And then it's easy to be caught up in fear and uncertainty and a lack of security and safety. But if we just turn our back on that for 1 second and just, for example, watch the water or the sky or the trees and realize that it doesn't really change. And if we can anchor back into that, it can pull us out of that frenetic world of what is created by the storytelling. And it is all just stories, all of it. So rather than getting caught up in that, if we can come back to that grounding in nature, into what we really are, then it can at least allow us to think and feel straight. And from that place, we can then start creating what it is that we actually want to see in front of our eyes, as opposed to being led by people with, obviously not good intentions towards us. And then we reclaim our own power. Then it's not given away to other people.
That is, I actually can take that advice myself. I forget to reconnect with nature as well. So I'll be doing that this weekend. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. I know if I needed to hear it, then a lot of other people did too. So thank you so much. And we'll keep up to date. And thanks for coming on to the RDA Media.
Sure. Thank you, Monica. Appreciate what you do as well.
Thanks, Tom.